Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ophthalmology Business Podcast. We help you develop your ideal practice with help of other doctors and experts. The topics we cover include marketing, management, leadership, recruitment, HR, mindsets, and more. I'm Guido, Piquet, one of the co-hosts of this podcast. Every listener of this podcast is welcome to join the Ophthalmology Business Academy at www.ovacademy.org. The membership is on us, and it's our gift to you.
Today, I'm excited to talk to Naren, Arulrajah, the founder of the Ophthalmology Business Academy and CEO of Equa Marketing, about Google Ads versus Google Organic. Let's jump in. Hello, Naren. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Guido. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I always look forward to our conversations. We have fun every time we're on the phone together. And also the topic today, I think, is a fun topic, Google Ads versus Google Organic. And I think it's a topic that we have gotten a lot of questions on, and I'm sure there's a lot of listeners who want to learn more about what it is, how it works, and all kinds of other details.
Yes, I agree 100%. And it's great talking to you. It's been a little bit since we talked last, so I always enjoy talking to you as well. I always learn something from you. So thank you very much for having this conversation today. The topic today, Google Organic versus Google Ads. I think in the industry, physicians and practice administrators, we hear these buzzwords like SEO or PPC, and I don't know if everyone is completely clear on what those things mean. So what if we start with just getting a brief explanation of what Google Organic is and what Google Ads are?
Absolutely. So the average person, when they are looking for whatever they need, they go to Google, right? So 90% of the people, when it comes to healthcare, use Google as their research tool. And they go to Google and use Google as a research tool to learn about that particular topic. So let's say retina. They want to know about what is it, how does it work, etc., etc. But at the same time, they're also trying to learn about who can help them. So usually it's kind of one and the same. It's like, I want to buy a car, I want to learn about the car, and I'm also trying to learn about where can I buy it from. So research is happening, and 90% of the time, that's what people do. And people use Google 8.7 billion times a day. And they do that because they want to see what's called organic results. What I mean is the earned results. So let's say I type in retina specialist. I might say retina specialist Chicago, or my city name. I might say retina specialist near me. I might say the best retina specialist. I might say retina specialist with reviews. So whatever I'm typing in, or I might just talk about retina. So whatever I'm typing in, if you do a good job, either you will show up for free next to, as one of the answers for that particular search, or you would show up as an ad. If you show up for free, that's called Google SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization, or some people call it Google Organic. So typically the words SEO and organic are used interchangeably. That's you getting free traffic from Google. And the second option is every few free listings, Google will show an ad, because Google makes a lot of money from ads. So those are called sponsored listings, Google Ads. Some people call them PPC. Why do they call them PPC? PPC stands for pay per click. So the way Google works is you pay Google $3, $4, $5 for every time somebody clicks on it. How does Google determine how much to charge you for that click? Everyone bids on it. So let's say there are 6 ophthalmologists who want that particular keyword. They all bid on it. One person says, I'll pay you, Google, $2. Somebody says, I'll pay you $3. Somebody says, I'll pay you $4. Google, of course, is going to, try to get all the money that the $4 guy is willing to spend. And then when the $4 guy's budget runs out, it will try to show $3 person's ad, because they also want your money. So Google makes a lot of money through Google Ads, and they use it to run their business. But we don't use Google to see the Google Ads. We use Google to see SEO. So it's kind of an interesting, situation, we find ourselves in. The free stuff is what makes us use Google, but then Google makes money from the paid ads.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, so a follow-up question I have on that is, from a user perspective, when you do a search and you see those results come up and you'll see different different lines, some that they might say sponsored, or others that don't have anything next to the name. I think me as a user, you seem to trust the ones that don't have the word sponsored a little bit more for some reason. I don't know if that's just the intuition that you feel that, okay, well, this is not something that they're trying to sell me. So what do you think, which results is more valid? I think from my perspective, that's kind of how I feel, but from most users, which Google ad versus a pay-per-click, what do you think is going to be better and have better results?
Absolutely. You are right on. We do not trust a paid ad. Anytime we see the word paid listing, ad, we don't trust it. How do we know that people don't trust it? There is data to back it up. So the average person who goes to an ophthalmologist website from SEO will spend 90 seconds. The average person who goes to the same ophthalmologist websites from a Google ad will spend 15 seconds. So you see there's a huge difference in the amount of time that these two people are spending. One is spending an average of 90 seconds, the other is spending an average of 15 seconds. Why is there a 600% or 6x difference in the amount of time spent? You said it correctly, Guido, that is trust. We do not trust ads. So we are going in with, after we click it, we have this mindset, what's the catch? What is the fine print? How am I going to get tricked? That fear of getting tricked by an ad makes us look for reasons to leave that site. So as soon as we click, we are like, okay, there's something wrong, let me get out. That's our mindset. That's why we are looking for that something wrong. Usually we find that something wrong, some people find it in 5 seconds, but on average 15 seconds, and they leave. So you need a lot more people from Google Ads to equal one person from SEO. So for example, we have done studies on it. A new patient call from SEO, let's say, costs you $15. The same new patient call from ads will cost you, $100 to $150, because you need a lot more of us, those who are coming through ads, to make up for one person who's coming through SEO. So ads are really, really, really expensive. So it's not something that I would recommend as your primary strategy. It can be a secondary strategy, and we can get into all of that later on. Of course, like every answer, there are nuances, right? So if you're a startup and you needed lots of new patients tomorrow, Google Ads may not be a bad idea, because, what's your other option? Go and buy a practice. So you are paying based on the number of patients. So let's say you're paying $500 a patient when you buy that practice. You might say, you know what? Google Ads are a lot more expensive than SEO, but I don't mind spending $200 per patient, to get that patient quickly through ads. So if you're a startup, I might say, you know what? Google Ads might be a short-term answer. But the last thing anybody wants to do, at least I haven't met a doctor yet who wants to spend 5 to 10 times more money forever. Yes, they might do that for a short period of time, but they don't want to do it forever. So I think your primary strategy has to be SEO. Now, again, there are nuances, right? Let's say the doctor is going to retire in 6 months. SEO may not be the right answer because it's just not enough time to see meaningful results. But if you have anything more than a year in your career left and you're thinking at least 2 to 3 years out, absolutely. What I would focus on is, how do I dominate Google? How do I dominate SEO and do that? Now, this is the secret, the dirty little secret. Google made $224 billion in the last year, 2022, from Google Ads. Most of us cannot even understand the number $224 billion because I don't think we work for a company that makes that kind of money. So if $224 billion was the GDP of a country, Google will be the 55th richest country in the world, meaning Google Ads will make more money in a single year than 170 countries would make in that same year from all their people who live in that country. So it makes a ton of money, right? So, and Google is run by these ads because that's what drives its business. So Google's, executives, the CEO on down, they want to make sure that every year Google makes more money through ads. How do they do it? They make SEO super hard. So they make sure that less than 5% of websites, less than 5% of ophthalmology practices get all the free traffic, meaning all the SEO organic traffic, Therefore, the 95% who do not get the free SEO organic traffic has no choice but to pay Google, billions of dollars. And again, there are studies that show doctors spend billions and billions of dollars with Google Ads every year. But you can't blame them. That's just, they're giving you something for free, so you can't complain. It's really hard to get something for free. So nobody complains. That's just the way the world works. So if you can master Google SEO, if you can get into the top 5%, then SEO is such a powerful strategy for you. It's almost like you belong to this exclusive club and you have this unfair advantages that the other 95% doesn't have. But if you don't get into that exclusive club and you don't stay there, then of course, then you have no choice but to spend money on Google Ads.
And you said it. So I think from a practice perspective, it's almost like the fear of not showing, because you said, it's like you said, when users come, they have a very limited amount of time to get that user's attention. So if you're not on the first page, you're likely not to get clicks. And so practices, that can't make that huge investment, especially in different markets, that the very competitive markets where, SEO and PPC are super competitive, it's going to be hard to compete. So, and I can tell you from my perspective, as a practice, sometimes you think, okay, do they give SEO preference to practices that spend a lot of money? I don't know. You start thinking up all these crazy scenarios. So how does Google use their algorithm to show SEO? Is it, if I put money in, do they give me preference? If I put money into the Google My Business and try to boost results there. So I know it's a combination of all of it, but it's like this super secret formula that nobody knows. So, you mentioned an instance where pay-per-click might be a good strategy if you're new or if your website doesn't have much history, or if you want to focus something really quickly on getting those results. But is there any other instance that you see that Google PPC is a good strategy based off all the things that you've heard me say as a practice that sometimes fears getting in front of my patient's eyes?
Yeah, you're bringing up lots and lots of good questions. I'll answer them one by one. So the first question is, is there any bias? Like, for example, if I buy Google Ads, am I going to get an advantage with SEO? The answer is no. I mean, the reason it's a no is, if Google does it and it's found out, it could ruin its reputation. So they never go there. They never do anything fishy. They never do anything underhanded. Because they're a $1 trillion company, watched so closely by every government on every continent. So they are like really careful on like playing by the rules. So and I guess another question you may have asked as part of that is, okay, how do I dominate Google? I know only 5% of the people get 95% of the free traffic. I won't spend too much time. I'll spend a minute or two just kind of giving you a quick, idea on how to do this. The two guys who started Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, met at Stanford. And I'm sure they had to work their tails off to get into Stanford. They probably had 4.0 or close to 4.0 GPA. They probably aced their graduate entrance exam. They were doing a master's program. So I guess it was GRE. I think that's the exam that you have to do to get into a master's program. They probably aced it. They probably had amazing references, right? They probably had amazing interviews, so they probably had amazing experience, when they were doing the undergrad with research projects. So all those things helped them get into Stanford. We all know Stanford is not easy to get into. The admission rates are like, in single digits, 3%, 4%, and so forth. So really, really hard. So they said, you know what? We can do the same thing when it comes to SEO. Let's make it super hard. Just like Stanford looks at 6 things before they decide who to let in and who to not let in. Let's look at 6 things. And if you are exceptionally good in all those 6 things, you get into the lucky 5% club that gets all the free traffic. If not, then pay us money. Everybody's happy, right? So is there any other instance other than startup practices where ads make sense? Absolutely. I mean, we work with quite a few ophthalmologists, and some procedures are very, very lucrative, where you might be making thousands of dollars for 1 hour of work you do. And you might say, you know what, I don't mind spending $300 to get that patient, even though I know I can get the same patient for $30 with SEO, but I don't care that it's going to cost me $300 because I'm making significant amount of profit from that patient that cost me $300 to get. So there might be situations like that where you might run Google ads. Some people who have big practices might run ads next to their name. Like, for example, they want to make sure that anytime somebody types their practice name, they show up, and they show up multiple times. So once you're showing up through ads, once you're showing up organically, and so forth. Now, those types of ads are not $3 a click, $4 a click. When you are buying your name, it might only cost you 10 cents a click, 15 cents a click. So it's a little bit cheaper. So those are some examples of when you would use Google Ads.
And one more to mention that as you were talking, I just remembered is that there's some practices that will purchase the name of another practice so that whenever that other practice is searched, that their practice shows up in PPC results. Have you seen things like that happen?
Absolutely. And one of the questions I get is, isn't it illegal? No, it's not illegal. Like, Nike can run an ad when you are looking for Reebok. That's fine. That's the way the free markets work, right? You can compete. You can literally go stand outside the Reebok store if you are Nike and, have a sign saying, go to my store, I'm Nike. That's fine. That's allowed, right? I mean, so absolutely I see that happening, Guido. I see that happening a lot. Some people even do that with SEO. They will even use the competitor's name in their keywords and so forth. So when people are looking for the competitor, they show up.
Right. No, I clearly understand. And we talked about the investment. I mean, they're significant investments. You mentioned $224 billion in revenue. That's just mind blowing. So when practices are spending money on ads, is it just Google they need to spend ads? What about Facebook ads? What about Instagram? What about other social media ads? Like, how does Google pay-per-click ads compare to those?
Absolutely. So remember we talked about trust, and we said when somebody comes through Google Ads, because they don't trust it, they're only spending 15 seconds versus 90 seconds when they don't come through ads. Now, Instagram and Facebook, there are two ways to play those games. One is organic and one is through ads. So the way to play the organic game, which is the earned game in Facebook and Instagram, is you are a celebrity. So I'm sure we all heard of Pimple Popper in dermatology, right? I'm sure every one of us know who she is.
Sure.
Why? Because she started doing these simple videos where she pops pimples, and she got a following, and millions of people every day watch her videos of her popping pimples. Now, she's a celebrity. Now, we as human beings love celebrity doctors. I mean, we all know of the celebrity, weight loss person that Oprah uses. Why? She was on Oprah's show, And of course, if we had a choice and we needed a, weight loss person and we can hire that particular individual, we would hire that person. Why? Because we think celebrity people are, know a little bit more than regular people. So if you're a celebrity type doctor and you love media, then of course, organic Instagram and Facebook works. Do a ton of videos, have a person follow you around, post it, make it engaging. And the more people watch your videos, the more Instagram and Facebook will show your videos, right? Because they make money on ads. The more time people spend on Instagram and Facebook watching your videos, the more money they can make off of those people who are watching your videos. So it's a kind of a I win, you win relationship between Instagram and you, the celebrity. But if you are not a celebrity, and 99% of my doctors, ophthalmologists and all other types of doctors we work with, they don't like being celebrities. They're very private. They like doing medicine, and they like, being doctors. They don't want to be, these people in front of a camera. So if you're not that, your only choice is ads. Now, the average person on an Instagram or Facebook ad only spends 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. It's a lot less than even the average time that the Google Ads person spends, which is 15 seconds. Why is that? Because not only do you not have trust, because again, it's an ad, but also you don't have intention. Meaning Instagram, nobody goes to Instagram and types in retina specialist. They just are looking to see what that celebrity person is doing, or that their cousin is doing in the recent trip he or she took to Barbados, right? So their intention is not to learn about the needs they have related to you, but rather just to spend some time. So usually you have to reach a lot of people who are not even interested in ophthalmology through ads, with the hope that 2 or 3% of those people are interested in what you have to say. So the average person who clicks on an ad on Facebook or Instagram is not even interested in what you have to say. So they click out in 1 or 2 seconds. They're like, oh, mistake, I'm out. So you need a lot more volume. So what I find is Facebook and Instagram, you're spending even more money, if you average it out versus Google Ads. So if Google is going to cost you, let's say SEO costs you, 1,000, Google Ads might cost you 7,000, Facebook might cost you 10 to 14,000. So it'll cost you even more to get the same results. I mean, if you were to calculate the cost of a quality new patient.
And I can tell you, Chief, from our experience, we've seen the same thing. You make an investment, but you almost have to be there because there are people on those platforms. So if you decide not to be there at all, then you might miss out on some potential clients or customers. But we've had the situation where make a significant investment in Facebook ads, and they are historically the hardest to convert. I mean, you may get 100 people that click on your ad and show some kind of interest, but then it's so hard to find those patients. Afterwards, they tend to just get lost. So I agree with what you're saying 100%.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because they never had that intention. They were not looking for you. You are the one who kind of, I don't want to use the word tricked, but almost kind of cajoled them into clicking on that link by showing you an ad. They're not sold on you. They're not interested in you, right? Because they never had the intention. So like you said, it's really, really, really hard to convert those people.
Very hard. And then not only Facebook, Instagram, but traditional media sources. And now you're a marketing team or you're working with a marketing consultant and you have to make these decisions. Like, where do I put my money? So I've got traditional marketing, radio, mailers, maybe grassroots marketing. So how do those traditional sources compare to Google Ads?
Absolutely. Let me share a famous quote from a legend in marketing. I don't remember his exact name, but he used to be the senior vice president of marketing at Procter & Gamble. And this is back in, I think, late 90s or early 2000s. And he said something like this. He said, I know half of my marketing works, but I don't know which half. And remember, it was in the late 90s or early 2000s. Half of my marketing works, but I don't know which half. And they were spending billions of dollars. And the reason he had to say that is in those days, there was no tracking. You didn't know how somebody came. Like, it's very hard to know what made that person come in. So the only way they found out is ask the people, how did you find us? And the person will give them some answer. And 99% of the time, the answer is wrong because they just told you what they remembered or what they thought you wanted to hear. It's not accurate. Humans are the least, the least effective people in being accurate in the way they answer things. I mean, that's why, I think in the 2016 elections, every single pollster said, Hillary is going to win, but because nobody wanted to say they're going to vote for Trump, or at least a lot of the people that they polled didn't want to say that. But all of a sudden on election night, everything flipped. So I think the issue with traditional marketing is this. One is it's hard to track how they're going to come. So you still need to put call tracking numbers. And the second problem with traditional marketing, I'm talking about the pre-Google, pre-internet, pre-digital media marketing, is it's the same issue that Facebook has. They don't have an intention. So I've heard the thinking of people who are masters of traditional marketing, like the person who ran Procter & Gamble's marketing team. And he said, at any given time, 97% of the people are looking to buy a new car, looking to find a new doctor, looking to do something with you. Typically, it's 3% of the, not 97, 3%. So typically 3% of the people, of the entire population need you. So the problem with traditional marketing is to get those 3%, you have to still go after the other 97%. So you're sending a postcard. You're targeting everyone in your neighborhood. But only 3 people are looking for an ophthalmologist. Yet, you don't know who those 3 people are. So you still have to send that postcard to the other 97 who are not looking for an ophthalmologist. So that's one of the problems with traditional marketing where there's a lot of leakage, right? The second problem is in this digital world that we live in, we see information a lot more than we used to. I mean, pre-1999, the average person saw 100 pieces of information a day. Now we see thousands. So what that means is, as a marketer, you have to also touch your potential customers 10x more times. So in the old days, they used to say, touch them 6 times. Now you have to touch them 60 times. So those are the kind of the pitfalls of traditional marketing. So I have clients who tried radio, mailers, and most of them say, you know what, once they start tracking, I don't see ROI, so they stop it. Now, it does work in certain instances. Like, for example, let's say you have a magazine that, people who are 65 plus read. It's really targeted. It goes to only that community and they read it religiously. And you are a doctor who treats, diabetic related eye issues. You know what? That might be a great group to go after. Or you might know that, doing an event for people who are a certain age group or certain demographic would be great because you are really good at, meeting that need of that demographic. So you might say, let me do an event that's attracting or that's specifically targeting people who are 65 plus. And I'll talk about, how to take care of your eyes and, all the issues that people of that age may run into with regards to their eyes and how you can help. So now you have that event. It'll cost you a few $100 for some maybe snacks and maybe a venue. And then now those people know, like, and trust you because you are this very easygoing doctor who came and explained things to them in a language they understood. So I think traditional marketing has its place, but don't just use it in general. Be strategic, be smart about when to use it and really think it through. And like anything else, track it. If the ROI is not there, don't repeat it, stop it.
And so what I'm hearing is, where you should put your money is, the answer is, it really depends, right? Like it's not a one size fits all. It depends on the market share, and it depends on the demographics that your patient base comprises of. It depends on, the procedures that you want to focus on. I can tell you from our practice, we definitely have a halo effect. So it can be challenging to understand where to put the money because patients will call in and they say, we ask them, how did you hear about us? And they say, oh, I heard you on the radio. And then they come into the practice and we say, how did you hear about us? And they say, oh, I heard you from one of my friends that had the procedure with you and recommended you. And you can ask them a third time and they're going to say, oh, I saw your ad on Facebook and Instagram. So it's hard at times for patients to understand, they're seeing you in all these different places, but I think we have to figure out what is that secret mix of where do I put the most money to get the most return on the investment. So, practices that don't have a lot of experience, I think in my opinion, need help because it's like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. It's sometimes you can't really understand what's happening behind the curtain, and you really need an expert to help figure it out. So I want to wrap up this conversation and kind of bring it from that perspective. Like if in general, I think we've mentioned it really kind of depends on your strategy, but in general, like what are the things that a practice should focus on if they really want to get a good return on investment? Like what are the first things they should do?
Absolutely. I think the first things they need to do is I think they need to know where they stand. So of course, we already established that the lowest cost, the best long-term strategy is SEO. I would really start by looking at how am I doing with SEO? If you are in the top 5%, remember you have to be in the top 5% to get 95% of the free traffic. You will rank for at least 100 or more keywords and phrases near the top of Google. So if you're not ranking for at least 100 keywords and phrases among the top 10 results of Google, for example, retina specialist near me, retina specialist in my city, whatever keywords you are interested in, and there should be at least 100 of them. If you're not ranking for 100 of those keywords on page 1 or top 10 of Google, that means you are not in the top 5%. So that's really, where I would start to establish how am I doing with SEO. And then you can go a bit deeper and find out why. How are you doing on NAP? Remember I said you have to do really well in 6 areas to get into the top 5%. And one of those areas is NAP. How am I doing on original content? One of the things that we do is we provide a free marketing strategy that's at no cost. That marketing strategy you can access by going to ekwa.com/MSM, ekwa.com/MSM. And you can go to that link and book a marketing strategy meeting and try to figure out how you're doing on SEO. The second thing you need to look at is how are you doing on convincing people in 90 seconds or less that you can help them with their unique need. So when they go to that page, let's say it's a retina page, what are you doing to help them see that you are an expert in retina? You are a specialist in retina who really knows this particular area and who have a lot of experience. What are you doing to get them to like you? Meaning, are you someone they can understand? Do you have a video or two that, someone with grade 5 knowledge, in ophthalmology, which is no knowledge in ophthalmology, can understand. Are you relatable? Are you easygoing? And last but not least, can I trust you? What have you done for others? What do others have to say about you? Your Google reviews specific to that particular topic that they are interested in. So all of these things combined is what you need to pay attention to. So I would start with an audit. And so we do this marketing strategy meeting, and it's no cost, and we will do 6 hours of research, and we'll share the results of the audit during this meeting. Plus, then we will give you a plan on wherever you are, how do you get into the top 5% of SEO? So that's where I would start. Now, once you have mastered SEO and you're doing well and you are in the top 5%, then I would add to it. I might do strategic traditional marketing. I might do strategic ads in the right places at the right time. So even though it's a lot more expensive, you're using it wisely. So that to me is a well thought out, comprehensive marketing plan.
Thank you. Makes sense. And I can say from a practice perspective, my secret result would be is to get help, because the formula changes so often that Google is looking at, and the people that do this every day are trying to stay on top of that and ahead of that formula. So that would be my advice: is get help from an expert, and that can help you figure out where you should put the money in, and how you can get the best return on your investment. So thanks, Naren, again for talking and sharing your expertise. It's always a pleasure, and I hope we can talk again soon. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Guido. I really enjoyed our conversation as well.
Thank you for Naren and Angela for joining us today and talking to us about Google Ads versus Google Organic. We appreciate it very much.
I also want to take a moment to thank our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. We cannot do what we do without you. If you like our podcast, kindly share it with one of your friends on social media. Also, please don't forget to write a review on iTunes or Google Play. Your reviews will help other doctors and practice owners find us. Till we meet again, wishing all of you an amazing week ahead.